el lunes. Vamos a bailarlo, vamos a danzarlo. It's Ricky Baker on the
Hi guys,
beat.
Danny here with Amozook, and today I'm here to share my favorite tips for working on bigger, smoother, slinkier looking body rolls, one of my favorite parts of Brazilian Zouk. Body rolls can be really challenging to learn because they require a decent amount of spinal flexibility, especially in our upper back, and a whole lot of coordination to execute well. For those of you who don't know, my day job is I'm actually a professional contortionist and flexibility coach. I've been doing that for more than 11 years, so I like to think I know a thing or two about spinal flexibility. But rest assured, you do not have to be contortion level bendy to do some sweet looking body rolls. So let me share my 5 favorite drills for you to work on both your coordination and back flexibility for bigger, slinkier, smoother body rolls. Start on all fours. We're going to start to cat-cow through our neck, arching and rounding by dropping our head and lifting our head. Try to keep the rest of your spine as neutral as possible and only move through the neck. Then we're going to try to cat-cow just through the thoracic spine, our upper back. So keep the neck and the hips neutral as we lift and drop the chest. So it's kind of similar to scapular push-ups if you've done them before. So keep those arms straight as you lift the chest and drop it to the ground. Finally, we'll cat-cow just from the hips, tucking the tailbone and lifting the tailbone, trying to keep the chest quiet so it's just the low back that's arching and round. Now let's try to turn those isolations into a wave. We're going to start by tucking the chin, lifting the chest, tucking the tailbone. And we're going to lift the head, drop the chest, lift the tailbone. So we round through the neck, the upper back, the lower back, arch through the neck, the upper back, the lower back. Then you can try to smooth it out, making sure you're leading with the head, keeping those arms straight. So those first 2 drills are mostly focused on the coordination of using each segment of our spine individually. Where a lot of students get stuck is feeling like their upper back is stiff as a plank. So these next couple of drills are going to help us find some of the ability to arch through that upper back, and then we'll look at strengthening those muscles so we can use them in our body weights. For this next drill, you're going to want a foam roller or a yoga block, and we're going to place it right at the bottom of your shoulder blades. So not in the middle of our ribs, not all the way up our shoulders, right at the bottom of our shoulder blades. We're going to lean backwards, take our hands behind our head, and squeeze those elbows together. With our butt on the floor, we'll lean back as far as is comfortable, and then sit back up. So these should be a little bit like crunches, but they shouldn't feel like a crazy challenging ab exercise. Make sure you're keeping those elbows in. That's going to keep your shoulder blades out of the way of your upper back. Now let's try to find some of those upper back muscles to pull us into that arch. Lean back on a chair with the seat of the chair right at the bottom of your shoulder blades, hands holding onto the chair, elbows squeezing together. We're going to take our hips and try to pull them down and underneath the chair. Don't let your upper back come off the chair. Use your arms to keep the top of your shoulders pasted to the chair and lift the hips up. So we're going to be reaching our butt down and back and then pressing it up. Make sure this is coming from squeezing your back muscles and not pushing into your feet. And don't worry if your booty drops are smaller than mine. Remember, I'm a contortionist. I do lots and lots of work with my upper back, so I have a really big range of motion in this particular drill. So if yours is small, that's okay. As long as you're feeling the squeeze in your back muscles, you got it. Start lying on your back with knees bent. Lift your chest and your ribs as high as you can, trying to make a gap between your back and the floor. This should feel like a squeeze in your back muscles as your ribs lift. Once you've lifted as high as you can, we'll push into our feet to lift our hips. And then we're going to lower one vertebrae at a time, starting with our upper back, our mid back, our low back, finally our hips. Then repeat, lifting the chest and the ribs, then pressing those hips up, and then trying to drop one vertebrae at a time, going from the space between our shoulders, the bottom of our ribs, our low back, and finally our hips. If that's starting to feel coordinated, you can start to smooth it out, turning it into a body roll as you roll up and down. I hope you find these drills helpful. We're just getting started on our Amo Zouk YouTube adventure, and we're looking forward to making more how-to videos with tips to help you improve your Brazilian Zouk dancing. So if you've got any special requests for types of training drills or tips for your dancing, let us know in the comments.
El lunes, vamos a bailarlo.